Hey, I'm Cheryl.
I'm Lynn.
And today we're going to start our very first podcast episode. So please forgive us because we don't know what we're doing at all. No clue. But you all have asked us to start doing a podcast. So here we are. We're going to give it a whirl. We hope it evolves over time because, like I said, it's going to be us bantering back and forth mostly for a little while. But we decided for now, anyway, on naming this podcast Booze and Brews.
For our coffee.
Brews for the coffee. Mm-hmm.
And booze for the spirits that we are more likely to have conversations with than not.
That's right. So, and we thought it was just a very clever little Booze and Brews. So we hope you like it too. If you don't, that's okay. We don't care. But yeah, so what we wanted to do today was just chat briefly about how we got started into what we do and why we do it. And then if you guys have ideas for topics or there's been stuff on our Facebook page you have questions on, put them in the comments so that we know what to talk about next time. So hoping to put this together every couple weeks for you guys. So we, Lynn and I, we own a business called Aspire Wellness, which you probably see. If you're watching this, you probably know because you're probably on the page. We're very silly, just so you know. And we started our business eight plus years ago.
Probably 8.5 going on.
Yeah, it's
almost
like
9.
It's about, and it's 8.5. I always go by when my son was born, and it's right, you know, because everyone has a kid and starts a business in the same month. So it's a good indicator of how crazy we are, but also of how long we've been here. So it's really exciting that we're going into our 8.5-ish year in business, and we're located in Newark, Delaware. And if you don't know where Delaware is, which people don't seem to, it's actually the very first state, and
second smallest.
The second smallest after Rhode Island. But we're right below New Jersey, right next to Maryland. Really, really stone's throw from Pennsylvania. So it's, you know, all right here. So if you're ever over here on the East Coast and you want to come visit us, come on over and see us. But that's where Delaware is. So if you live close, you thought that whole explanation was ridiculous, which we understand. But in any case, we have a lot of really cool things here in our wellness center. We call it a healing arts center. And we started off just as kind of like a brick and mortar thing. We wanted to create a facility where people could heal. And we decided there was, like, you know, so many different ways that you can heal your body. And not everything's for everybody, but there's really cool modalities out there that are different than, you know, just medicine.
Definitely. And we use the word holistic a lot. But people sometimes seem to be a little bit scared of that. And holistic really just means natural. So our things are natural. We're not doctors. Well, I'm not a doctor. Cheryl's technically a doctor.
A doctor, but of education.
But not a medical doctor.
But not a medical doctor.
So we're not writing prescriptions. We're not doing that kind of thing. So we're doing things that are more natural. Obviously, we use equipment and different sort of things, but things that maybe have been around for a really long time. And then some things that are relatively new. So
yeah. It's really cool blend. Like we've learned, you know, some of the modalities that we've picked up here are used in Europe and in other countries quite commonly, but not so much here in the United States. And that's pretty cool because other people come in and they're like, oh, I know about this, or I've used it somewhere else. And that's neat. And other stuff is new, like cutting edge technology. So lately, well, I'm not going to say lately, since COVID, we really were forced to kind of push our business to new levels, like try different things, because it was like sink or swim, right? Like we all had to do that, and here we are in a brick and mortar building and having services that have appointments for, and now we weren't allowed to do that anymore. So we were part of the first wave to close during COVID. They closed all facilities like ours down, and we were the last to reopen. So we were closed for over a year and 3 months or something like that.
Yeah,
it was a long time.
At some point, I don't remember the timeline exactly, but at some point we were allowed to have one person as like one client in the building at a time.
I mean, who's making rent with one client?
It's not really sustainable. So it was a tough go.
It was really tough. And we did a video the day that we were closing for COVID, and it was kind of emotional.
It was very emotional.
man, I feel like emotional even talking about it now. Because we didn't know. Like, we just told all our clients that obviously we all knew what was going on and that we were going to be shutting down. But for us, we were open like 5 years, I guess, at that point. About four.
Yeah.
And it felt like we were just kind of, for those of you who have owned businesses probably know, but it takes a while to kind of get your feet under you. And we were just to that like crest, I felt like, of breaking that barrier and really feeling like we're onto something. We got this. And then we had to do this video that said we're closed for who knows how long. And, we had poured everything into this company. So it was kind of like, oh my God, are we going to ever come back? Like, is this it? Like, are we closing our doors forever? But here we are. We made it. We made it through that. That's pretty awesome. And we know a lot of businesses didn't, so we're very grateful. But one of the reasons that I think we did is because we were forced to be kind of creative.
We were definitely forced to be creative.
Yeah, like we took everything. Well, we took what we could online, which is really hard when you are used to seeing people in person.
People aren't floating over the phone.
Yeah, and when we say floating, we don't mean levitating. We have a float pod that's
maybe levitating. I mean, things are happening all the time.
Yeah, we could maybe try that now. But we have a float pod, so it's filled with Epsom salt and warm water. Yeah, we're not offering that service online. But we were really challenged to try to figure out how to push the envelope, and we did a lot of online classes. We did meditation classes and learning how to meditate and learning how to develop your intuition. And what else did we do? We did a lot of stuff like that.
We did remote Reiki or distance Reiki.
Yeah.
We did just even things about like learning about holistic healing.
Yeah, just learn about it.
Just different, there's different options, because obviously, like Cheryl said before, like not everything works for everybody. So not everybody is gonna feel great getting in the water or able to get in the water. And some people don't like heat, and some people aren't able to don't like cold for them.
Yeah, we have a cold plunge.
It's
yeah, so we were really challenged, and we felt like, we stepped up into it, and it took our business in a whole different level, like a whole different way, and it felt really good. And for a while I was a little bit shy about it, because I felt like, is this what people want? Like, are they going to respond to that? Are they going to be okay stepping out of the building and more into the virtual realm of what we do? And it worked, and I'm really excited. But it's also when the mediumship part of our business really took off. I had been practicing in animal communication and mediumship for a while, but again, wasn't really promoting it as our mainstay kind of business. It was kind of in the background of what we were doing.
Supplemental.
Yeah.
We did other stuff, and then we also maybe do this,
Yeah.
And when I say we, it's more her, but I'd like to think that I help sometimes.
Of course you do. Absolutely. Sometimes. No. In any case. So, but it really encouraged me to be brave and put myself out there and decide that, if I really wanted this to work, I was just going to have to see if it worked. And I was going to have to trust in what the guidance I was getting from the universe and through my own meditations to try it. So, it caught on like crazy. It was really cool. So mostly started a lot with the pets. I mean, I still do a lot of, half and half pet readings. So that's communicating with your pet telepathically. So I'm an animal communicator. It's a 3-way conversation with you and your pet and me. And, it's really fun. But I do it with pets that are alive, pets that are deceased. And it's really interesting, you can use it for like behavior change, just to learn about what's going on with them every day, or if they have messages from you, from the other side. So pet communication really started to take off during COVID, as did mediumship. And that's me communicating with people on the other side. So similar to animal communication, a little bit different style of communication. But it's, figuring out how that works for me, and then bringing it to people instead of in person, over the phone or over Zoom or something like that. So, yeah, COVID really was the time to push those things out. So, interestingly, now in our business, I'm not going to say it's fully flipped, like where mediumship and animal communication is kind of primary, but it's at least 50-50 into what we do.
I would say that, yeah.
Yeah, at least what we do here in the office, and then what we do remotely. So we've kept that remote part of our business really going. What else do we want to introduce today?
I think people ask us all the time, like, how did you guys decide to start this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, where did this come from? And, like, are you a chain? Is there more places like you guys? And so.
And how come we didn't know you were here? Wish there was more people like this. So do we. And I think we feel like kind of isolated over here. I don't know. You think the coasts are really progressive, but I don't know. I feel like people get stuck still in that whole traditional model and being a little bit nervous to step outside the box.
Honestly, just being unaware. People don't know. I mean, there's things that when we learn about them, I'm like, it's been around for thousands of years. And I'm like, how are we just learning about this now? Or why are we just learning about this now?
Yeah, like meditation. I mean, that's pretty archaic. And here we are. And people are like, oh, that's new age. We're like, oh, we're old age. It's fine. Either way, it's fine. It might be new to you, and that's great. We want you to get
ages.
That's right. Transcends the ages. Yeah, that's what it does. So how do we start? I was into the fitness industry very deeply. I owned a gym, and the writing was on the wall that business was going to be winding down. And not that I was necessarily looking to the next thing, because I could have stayed in that kind of business, but my heart was just telling me that there was more, that I needed to look at something more well-rounded, something more, we're going to use the word holistic, but holistic in the way of like looking at the whole body. But at the same time, I was battling my own journey with health and wellness in that I was not feeling good. And a lot of things were changing in my body, and I suddenly had autoimmune conditions and diseases that I didn't know anything about. I didn't know how to manage them. I don't even know where they came from, honestly. Like how did this suddenly happen? I was in my late 30s, I guess. Where were we? Over that 35 hump, we'll put it that way. And all of a sudden, like, just feeling kind of like, things were starting to feel kind of crappy. And other things were happening in my body, and I kept going to the doctor, and I was not really getting a lot of help. I mean, it's not their fault, right? Maybe they just don't know. Maybe they just don't know. Maybe it's just all the wrong people. I don't know. But I wasn't really feeling like I was getting solutions. And, people always say like, oh, you're just really stressed out. What? Like, what
right,
is that?
Because he's no one telling me what's wrong.
Right. Is that because you don't know? So that's your default, or I'm really stressed out? And I don't really know. Like, I didn't really know what to do with that. I didn't know where to take it. But what I did here was like, I have to find ways to de-stress, to figure out how to unstress myself and learn about that and figure out like what that even means. And I wouldn't have said that I felt stressed in the moment. I mean, maybe, you're running a business, you have family and stuff like that. So it's stressful, but isn't everything stressful? I mean, everything's stressful. Everything's stressful. So how do you undo that?
Happy things are stressful.
I know, like, I mean, planning happy events, weddings, I mean, it's all
like, that's really like, I don't know, it's like number 2 on the list of like stressful things.
Yeah. So, I mean, how do you unstress your life?
I made that list up.
That's very good. That's a good list. Yeah. What was number 1?
Death.
Oh, well, that's not a fun thing. You said second on the fun thing.
Oh, no, second on the list.
Oh, on the list.
Fun things can be
on the list.
stressor
I
list.
see.
But
Yeah. What else is fun?
Starting a business. Super fun.
Super fun.
No problems at all.
No, not for the weak of heart, I'll tell you that. In any case, so we were trying to figure out what does stress mean? And this is a topic for me, stress, that I'm still trying to figure out. I'm still trying to understand how stress has impacted me. And it's 8 years later, like I said, 8 years we've been doing this, still learning about it. I'm finally starting to understand that what I think doctors are trying to say in different words is that your nervous system is maxed out. I think that's what they mean. you're stressed. Because I hear stress and I'm like, okay, well, traffic is stressful, paying bills is stressful. Like all of the things in the here and now, of course they're stressful, sprinkled in with other life things that are fun. So I don't know how to make those things go away to be, less stressed. But I think the crux of that is that the nervous system is really stressed out. And in having the nervous system stressed out, you really stress the immune system. And that's where I think that things started to kind of go down this mountain here for me.
I think we also don't always pay attention to the idea that obviously the different systems in our body, they're all interconnected and they're all related. And we've been hearing so much recently about how the gut is really affecting your everything. It's affecting everything.
Second stomach,
yeah. So I mean, your
brain, not second stomach. That's what my son would say.
I might have a second stomach.
My son is 80. He likes to tell me he has 5 stomachs. He's not a cow, so I'm not really sure how that happens, but some days he eats like that.
Yeah, right. But anyhow, so we're hearing about all these different things about the gut and affecting different systems, and how I think we've kind of forgotten that our bodies are all connected. So why would it be
holistic thing? Yeah.
Why would it be so surprising that our stomach or our gut is really helping or not helping different parts of our body? So there's. When you try to look at one thing, you can't look at it always independently. You really have to look at the whole thing. Although you do have to sometimes look at things one at a time to try to put the pieces of the puzzle together.
Yeah, for sure. And that's where, so we came together and decided, how do we find ways to let people decompress and relax and release some stress that isn't medicinal in like the traditional Western sense. And that's where we came up with this collection of services that we have here at our Healing Arts Center, which continues to evolve and change as we add cool technologies and things like that. But lately we've been going through this idea of kind of rebranding because, on one hand, we have all these really cool things like a plunge tank and a float pod and a biocharger, which is hanging out back here. It's all full of Tesla technology and cool stuff. The scientist part, yeah.
Nicholas Tesla.
Yeah.
Nicholas Tesla, his work, and they use a lot of his findings and stuff, and the creators of the biocharger, which is behind us, uses those technologies.
And then, we have halo therapy, which is salt therapy, and biomats, and all these really cool fun things, and grounding mats that we use here in the office, the red lights. So we've been doing all that, but we also have this other huge component that I talked about that really evolved for us, especially during COVID with mediumship and meditation, and guided meditation and Reiki and all different forms of Reiki and crystal Reiki and
chakra balancing, angelic Reiki.
Yep. And crystal grids and oracle cards and all these really cool things that we've been doing. And how do we explain what we do to people? Because it's kind of vast at this point, but it's all interconnected, like Lynn said. So it's really fun. It's really fun to bring it to you guys. And I've gotten into, things like past life regression, exotonial alignment, and what else? Like trauma release therapy, and hypnotherapy and stuff like that. So it's so fascinating, interesting, and I absolutely love this work. And I do have a service called multidimensional healing that I do with clients, and it kind of brings like all these really fun modalities together: chakra healing, chakra balancing. And in any case, so we've been playing with this on like how do we explain to people what we do. So we've been we kind of rebranded ourselves as like a little bit of a boutique, which is a fun little word, boutique. But where we have, we're like the metaphysical part of what we do, that spiritual side. People also kind of grimace at the idea of spiritual, so we went with metaphysical because it seemed somehow more neutral.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it encompasses multiple things. Yeah, seems less threatening.
Less scary. I mean, it's not a scary word at all, but because it's not in a religious sense. It's spiritual work. But anyway, metaphysical meets the science, right?
Yeah.
So it meets biotechnology, it meets biohacking. All these tools that we have here are used to really hack into your system and figure out how does it de-stress you and how does it make you feel better, and can you carry that forward, into your life. So if you go on our website, you'll see that we've branded ourselves as that boutique with metaphysical plus the biohacking technologies to bring you the cutting edge technologies along with the spiritual side, and bring them together and make you guys feel good. It's kind of the goal, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I'd say.
We're feeling good. You're feeling good.
Well, I'm trying to.
Well, everybody's feeling.
It's still a work in progress. See, so that's part of the thing is like when we come out here to do podcasts and stuff like that, people, you don't want to give people the idea that, I don't know, for me, I've always been really shy and like, well, I haven't perfected it yet in myself. Like I haven't mastered how to do it quite all on my own. Therefore, you know, how do I, what do I tell other people? But that's silly because it's a work in progress. Like no one's, things change. Like your life is going to change. Your body's going to continue to change. It's going to continually be a project that you have to figure out. It's not always really going to run on all cylinders, right? Like
the only finish line is at the end, and until you hit the end, that's not. you're not at the end. So it's not going to stop. You know, you're not going to stop needing to have ways to de-stress or make yourself feel more comfortable or more flexible or less whatever you know it is that you're going through. So things are always going to come up. Yeah. So we really had to work hard on getting over that idea that we don't have to have all the answers. We don't have to have it all figured out, but we continue to learn and evolve and study and find cool things and bring them to other people, because you know what resonates with you might not always resonate with me either. So we get all the time people who come in and they're like, I really like their thing, like they really like massage, or you know they really like the biomat, but they don't like to be wet, so they're not doing cold plunge like Lynn said, or they're not getting into the sauna and stuff like that. And that's fine, because those things don't relax them. Like we all have different pathways in our neurological system that cue as to what is going to be relaxing for you. And maybe Reiki works for you, but it doesn't, you know, other people don't get into that zone as much. So, but what our plan is to try to help you the best we can, to guide you guys into figuring out what works for you. So over the next upcoming weeks, we'll, I think we're going to do a bunch of things. We're going to try to introduce you to the services that we have here, so you can kind of see it in action, some of it in action. And maybe you can, maybe we'll put you in the plunge tank. I've been in.
We can do it as a live video, or not live. Anyway.
or live.
Either way. And then also share with you some of the fun things, stories that I've learned and experienced through mediumship. Those are really fun.
There's so many stories.
There's so many stories, and there's so many fun things that we can talk about, and as animals or pets and what they say and how they make us laugh, and the guidance and stuff that comes from the other side. It's really quite fascinating. So I am more than happy to share that kind of fun thing as well, and get into those topics of like, well, what is this and how does it work and da-da-da. So yeah, we'll chat with you about that too. So what else? What do you think?
I think we covered it. Covered why we started, covered what we do, covered where we are.
Yeah. All right. So next time we'll come at you with some different content, something.
Yeah. If you have any suggestions, throw it in the comments.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll be able to reach all the topics that pop up.
Sounds like a good time. All right. Well, that's it for our first time. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again soon.
Until next time.